Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Rivals Runback. This time around, we're going to be taking on week 2 here at Rivals League. Of course, my name is Righteous. As always, joining with me is CB the Barbarian. CB, how we doing today? How we doing?
It's been a day between you being AFK for a bit and then my internet wanting to go out, just randomly. It's a beautiful day outside, so of course I have internet issues for no reason. But we're
Yeah.
here.
Well, we are here. We're going to be doing this from CB's hotspot. So if it gets a little freaky, you know why. You guys know the drill. We're going to look at the standings ever so quickly, and then we're going to jump into what you are all here for, which is the power rankings and predictions. CB, anything else before we get into this?
No, I mean a lot of. I don't think we have too many spicy picks. We'll see. We'll talk through it and then get everybody ready for their games that are potentially playoff locking in or playoff knocking out games. So, but yeah, let's get into the
Essentially,
upsetting people part.
yeah. Let's get some people upset. You can't get upset with the standings. They are what they are. And here they are on your screen. Alone in first place is Rar, tied for second, Dignawash Shinobi, fourth, Eclipse Valkyries, and then tied for last, SEAL Team 8 and the Patriots. Any initial thoughts with these rankings? I know there were some people in banter talking about who might be frauds, and it's my opinion that until the top 3 teams play each other, they're all on fraud watch.
Oh, there was banter chat this week? Okay, I
Yeah.
missed it. No, I think the standings. I mean, yeah, they are what they are. Some people have had tougher schedules than others. Uh, Still feels like the top three have earned their top three spot. The fourth one's just like a question mark of they've had a tough schedule maybe. And the bottom two just some poor week 1 and 2 performances. We'll see how they're gonna spice it up. So I don't know. Feels like it's all fair for now.
All fair for now. Can't argue with the standings because they are what they are. But let's get into the power rankings where you guys can let us know how angry you are in the chat because you're ranked last or first. Maybe you don't want to really get ranked first. Starting with top lane, of course, sixth place, Frost. Not a very envious position for Frost to be in. Coming in late notice, 1 game sample size. The whole VV South thing. Their team gets wrecked. He's not an exception to that. It is what it is. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, and we don't put eSubs on our rankings, so because they had eSub 1 game, so yeah, the 1 game sample size that didn't go so hot. Naturally, you're going to be sixth, but we'll see if they play again and can move up. But who knows?
Who knows? Indeed. All right, fifth place, Alcoholic. So this might be the one where people start getting a little bit antsy. Um, it's a
This one's tough.
combination. Yeah, top lane was tough. There's gonna be a lot of people upset with the top lane rankings, and we're going off of the week 2 sample size. What we've seen with top lane, you kind of have to look at how they do in lane. That's a big part of that role, and then of course how they control side lanes and show up in team fights and stuff. So Alcoholic comes in fifth, but it wasn't necessarily by any wide margin. There's a debate all up and down after that sixth place spot.
Yeah, I think some good showings. It's just tough. Top lane was tough on who deserves to be where, so we flip flop back and forth a decent amount. But with only 6 players, fifth is where you ended up this time.
Fourth place, Diet Coke. Diet Coke had a really nice showing against Storm, who was ranked number 1 last week in the top lane rankings. It was, another week where because Valkyrie's got reverse foot, but I think he could be pretty happy with his performance individually.
Yeah, I think this Diet Cook was tough. I think we started to differ a decent amount. I think top lane overall we kind of differed, but
Mhm.
Diet Coke can definitely make the argument on uh, them being higher, especially with who they played against and a tough opponent. So fourth doesn't really feel like fourth. It just fourth feels bad, even though I feel like the spacing between the rankings is very small.
Mhm. Here's our most controversial take coming up next.
Hey,
Storm.
with only 6 people, and only 2 weeks in, it's just every week's gonna be pretty volatile, as far as how you perform that week. If you're number one, number two, and you just don't have a super great, amazing week, you're gonna drop. So, uh, yeah, you can make the argument of how do you drop after winning your match, but mm, third feels.
I mean, I think it's fair to say it wasn't Storm's best week compared to his week one, obviously. Um, these are power rankings, so what have you done for me recently? Kind of plays a factor into that. Diet Coke having a good week against him when he was, um, you know, not the highest rated top winner. Definitely dinged it a little bit. So I don't know. I mean, I don't expect Storm to drop any lower than third anytime soon, but who knows?
Yeah, we shall see tonight live.
TV, you
Two,
got this one?
two's gonna be some guy named BK's. Uh, I don't remember where he was at last week. Probably like fourth, fifth, somewhere in that range. So a big jump.
He's fifth.
Uh,
Yep.
team got 0-2'd, but he tried his best to 1v9.
Both games
Uh,
too.
both games was the reason that they had a chance to win. So individually, ranking wise, I feel like top three's definitely deserved. Two feels right for me.
Yeah, I hope it does. Considering where you put BK's on your own ballot. Number one.
I feel like BK's arguably the best performance of the week. But
There you go. There you go. Number one, gonna be the last person remaining on this list. Key of RAR. Back to back, very solid weeks. Now, granted, not the toughest opponents that RAR's had to go against, but these are power rankings. You play well against the opponent, no matter who it is. You're gonna get reflected on the power rankings by that. So, key number one.
this is the Akali pop off game, like 15 kills or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, jungle. We're gonna kick it off. Big Rev himself, unfortunately, taking that sixth spot. I've seen Rev make some amazing plays, especially last split playing with him. But last week was a tough one to watch. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just a tough one. And I wasn't casting. I was watching from the producer's chair, but it was a lot of going in and a lot of dying when BK's was trying to split push. So
Yeah,
tough.
unnecessary deaths. I mean, part of it could be just that lack of communication, top to bottom. But even if that was a factor, some choices he willingly, or some positions he willingly chose to put himself in, was not a great look. So Big Rev gonna fall to fifth, and NFG stocks booming. Uh, yeah, booming on the upwards trend.
Mm-hmm.
Pandorum. They did get 2-0'd, but I would say that Pandorum, in terms of like the first 15 minutes, the objective tracking, making sure that the objectives were being secured, was very good in both games. Game one probably more so than game two, but
You okay
game
with that,
two
man?
they had yeah, I was just dying. Game two they had a variety of issues, so they get a soft pass for that. But yeah, I was impressed with how active they were. In game one, the objectives that they got, their playstyle kind of led them to fall off in the mid to late game, which I mean that happens, but not the worst showing for the Steel teammate jungler.
Yeah. And now with another week under the roll swap belt, so see
Mm-hmm.
if they can keep climbing one at a time.
Got this one.
Ribeye for
Mm-hmm.
EV, who EV just back to back almost wins. So this was what EV versus Dig, right? So the
Correct.
game one looked super great for EV, and Ribeye having a good part in that. Just kind of the second two games, not the best, but enough to be in the top four. So I feel like the fourth spot overall for all of our rankings is kind of like a weird, almost like fourth is the middle tier. It's like fifth and sixth bottom tier, 1, 2, 3 top tier, and fourth is usually mid. So yeah, I don't know. Ribeye definitely not in the bottom two. I could see them climbing, but fourth feels right this week.
Yeah, I think in terms of their early game, Rebuy is a big part of their activity. Um, they gotta clean up the mid to late. That's what Pillar said in their interview. I agree. So we'll have to see once that happens, if it happens, where Rebuy ends up. Third, holding down the spot while Block was gone. Phantasm, really shaky week. Game one, it must be said, but games 2 and 3 definitely popped off. Got the series MVP. Third, because it is a substitute. Uh, Phantasm, for as good as he did have that tough game one. So top three, not a bad place to be when you're shupping in.
You ain't got to pull out the spicy Rengar, right? Is it game 3?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
Karthus Rengar, game two.
yeah, like we give an extra 1 point for the spicy picks.
Extra 1 point. Okay. Sounds good. Top two,
Got
Rye, moving up. What
moving
was that?
up. I wasn't sure if it was move up or not. Jumped over
Yeah.
dig maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Block was 2 last week. So moves up 1 spot with the sub. We'll have to see how these two teams do tonight. But Cry, I mean, there was a question about Shampoo. Obviously, very big fan of Evelyn. Hasn't yet got to play it, to my knowledge.
Probably won't
And
ever get to.
yeah, hasn't really led to any loss in performance. So Cry doing a really good job.
Yeah, just pulling out a free ban and still being able to perform. So much deserved it too, but it's going to be tough. I feel like to take this number 1 spot. Stealthy back-to-back good weeks. Shinobi's 2-0, right? Yeah. I think they've only dropped 1 game. I don't know. Stealthy. I'm surprised Stealthy's not pulling more bans than they have been. We'll see if teams recognize. I think Stealthy's one of the top players on their team, but kind of top to bottom, Shinobi's has a solid roster. So I don't know. Number 1,
Yeah.
much deserved.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Stealthy in terms of tempo throughout the whole game. Does really good. Doesn't overforce on objectives in which he doesn't think their team can really play for, and instead finds an individual advantage on the cross map. Showing really good stuff. So I'm Stealthy, firmly in control of first place so far through 3 weeks.
2.5.
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, 2.5. My bad. Correct. And someone you don't know, mid lane, the swap, while it did help Pindorm, didn't necessarily help this player. Wasn't asked to do a whole lot. The problem was the team didn't get a whole lot done. So another position, another NG player at 6, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, we can give a slight pass because all the kind of in-game drama stuff that happened that series. So this is the week that they start to turn it around. So potentially last week at 6th. We'll see.
We'll see. It's
Fifth
fifth.
is Eyesight himself, one of the many off-roll warriors in the Rivals League. I feel like he was either 3rd or 4th last week. Maybe not 5th. I don't know. But I don't know. Tough showing, it seemed.
Fourth. Yep.
Too many missed ults to count. We kind of lost track there for a while.
The Oriana sombrero. Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
And then in game 2, losing early game prio to the Zed when you're the Syndra. Not the best of looks. So Eyesight definitely got dinged in their performance against. Well, now I'm spacing. Against Roar. Roar. Yep.
So number 4, Katie in the man of
Aiden
today. Oh yeah, I forgot. Stop yelling at me about it.
Yeah. Caden for Dig. Yeah, we'll have to see how they do against Roar's middle laner. Caden, he looked good on Yone, and he looked better than Eyesight in the other 2 games. So I guess that's how he ends up in 4th.
Do we see another Ornn? That's the question.
I mean, if you guys watch the Insights interview, he wants to pull it back out. I don't know when, but keep your eyes peeled.
Maybe we'll see it later tonight. Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know if picking it into Ray's Cassante would be advised. We'll see. Solram, another mid laner that got dinged. Game 1, awesome. Kind of the story of Eclipse Valkyries. Games 2 and 3, just not a whole lot done around Solram and mid. Could be the game plan, could be an lack of comfort on the champs that were picked. But at the end of the day, games 2 and 3, not the greatest we've ever seen from this particular player.
Yeah, still gonna stay in the top 3. I think really because of that game 1 was really good, but I don't know, maybe not a ton of experience into the assassin pool of Millie Bobby, right?
Yeah.
Still top 3 either way. Bounce back performance coming. Means Ray at 2 for RAR. I feel like a good showing. Unique chance that we don't see a ton in comp play. And looked good, especially comparatively in last week's game. So
Yeah, it was weird because Ray had to play top on the Cassante last week into the Dr. Mundo. Finally got the solo bolo after they got Elder.
Does that count?
Roar's early mid game wasn't the best that we've seen from them against Patriots, but solid nonetheless from Ray, and that means, of course, first place, reclaiming the throne after a hiatus last week is Millie Bobby Brown.
This was the series where it was a bunch of almost first bloods against Solram. Like at least games 1 and 2, maybe even 3. I don't remember, but yeah, a lot of early fighting, just a tad bit of too much over aggression. But I mean, yeah, the games 2 and 3 really solid. So
well, that was first week, and then they cleaned it up week 2.
Okay.
Week 2 they looked
I told you
really solid in a nefarious gaming. So.
Oh, there we go. See? Tripping.
Didn't 50-50 the lane early, and then made their champs work in the late. So
either way, first place, same thing.
First place, same thing. We move on. We got 2 more roles to do, the team rankings, and then if we can, we'll squeeze in the predictions as well. There's a lot of ways you can end up at the last spot in power rankings, depending on your team. Is definitely the probably number one way to end up at 6. I mean, for what it's worth, VV Sal, stats wise, was okay with his time in the league, but yeah, putting your team in that position for game 2 is tough.
Yeah, unfortunate situation, but NG can bounce back, so we'll see.
Yep.
We got Eli, Intelligence.
Yep.
At 5th place. Had a good game 1.
Mm-hmm.
Game 2 seemed kind of tough. I think the AD carry pool this week was pretty solid, so feels weird seeing Intelligence at 5th, but that game 2 just kind of seemed like a non-factor really, and what was a close game.
My biggest gripe with Eli and why I've rated him 5th the last 2 weeks is there's a pretty clear disconnect between him and the team, and I don't know who's at fault for that, other than I remember explicitly against RAR where they start up the Baron and then Eli just leaves, and so they go get mid pressure, and Eli just backs. And I just feel like if they're on the same page, if Eli's actually able to do some damage in team fights, then he would definitely rise up these lists, because he does well in CS. When he does fight, it looks fine. It's just that when push comes to shove, these crucial moments, Eli's just not showing up. So 5th place it is. 4th place. I say 4th place. Maybe just 4th. Anyways, Riley Sauce 21. Rising up 3 spots. Was ranked last 2 weeks in a row. The sample size big enough now. I'm pretty confident in Riley's ability to just do fine in lane and then show up mid to late and do AD carry things in team fights. Right click some people, put out some damage.
Yeah. 4th feels well. I mean, their team's undefeated, right? So I think they pick up a big win tonight. I could see Riley being one of those big factors. But I don't know. we'll see. Fourth feels all right for now. It's I think the top four we get pretty close
Yep.
together.
Yeah, it was. We weren't totally in line with each other, but we were close. Ferdy at 3. I think this is fair. When Eclipse Valkyries as well, Ferdy is a big part of that. Either playing around um, Ferdy or Ferdy just popping off. And then when Eclipse Valkyries lose, it's usually because Ferdy can't get as involved as he probably needs to be. So one of the top 80 carries for sure. It's just a matter of if Eclipse Valkyries in the mid to late can get him going around these objectives.
Yeah, seems like Freddie plays well every week. It's just those kind of late game team fights sometimes where it's not able to be as impactful. It's not completely on him, just kind of how the game goes. But um, good, we noticed that playing well enough in lane that you're gonna still be in the top 3. So, number 2,
Number 2, rising up 2 spots.
Inferno
Inferno.
from Shinobi's one of the most consistent teams overall. So maybe not as much pressure as some other players. But I mean, I feel like Inferno is one of the more consistent players in the whole league. I don't know. It's been showing out both weeks. Played well. I think it was tough. Yeah, 80 carry was where we differed, but it wasn't. It was just how do we decide top 3 because they all look pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, Inferno brought out that Eclipse, or sorry, not Eclipse, Essence Reaver Jinx. Looked really nice. Took home series MVP. So unfortunately, it doesn't sound like we're gonna be able to see them play this week. Hope everything's okay over there. And number 1, Tyler Durden, a controversial figure in Rivals League the past few days.
Yeah, but nonetheless, not gonna let that anything distract from the fact that Tyler both back-to-back weeks. I mean, popping off. I don't want to say solo carrying, but I mean, definitely pulling a lot of resources from their opponents. We'll see on stream. You can argue that hasn't played against the best laners so far, but nonetheless, in lane, out of lane, Tyler's been popping off.
Yep. Definitely deserving of number 1. Okay, we move on to the support
Most
role.
important role.
The
Some
most
say.
important role.
Some say.
Some say. Blackout once again. 3 straight weeks of being last. I mean, what can you say at this point? Just gotta clean it up. Stop getting caught out for vision. Of course, vision is important, but your life is equally as important. So Blackout is some improving to do.
Yeah, just a little too loose, a little too. Sometimes dying for vision isn't worth it, but usually not.
I would say 99% of the time, probably not. Death Knight moves down in our rankings, was 4th last week. Kind of in a similar vein. When you're leading the league in deaths as a support, I mean, if you're doing it and your team's winning and they're good deaths, that's one thing. Kind of get caught out. And then, like I said, that miscommunication, a lot of the time, Death Knight pulls the trigger, looks for a team fight, and then there's just no follow-up. So definitely going to hurt him there, even if the engages are good. So we'll have to see how the Patriots do into Shinobi this week.
See if he can bounce back. Again, one of the many people that are kind of off roll, but champion selection and maybe a little bit too aggressive in some team fights. But we'll see if they can climb up from 5th.
4th, gonna be Sapphire Gem. Got dinged a couple spots. I think that's because there's some pop-off performances from the 3 supports ahead of her. It's not that she played poorly. It's just those guys, the 3 ahead of her, did a lot for their teams.
Yeah, I think this is where it was getting tough. Where it was like, that just feels wrong. Undefeated team, playing well.
Yeah.
But this one happened to be the nature of other people popping off slightly more. But definitely support. I feel like the gap between 4-3-2 is all real close.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of it could be just because of the nature of the champs that are being picked. For example, Pillar got put on a couple playmakers, did really well. Even in the losses, was there. Right place, right time. A lot of action was following Pillar, and was making a lot of good plays for EV.
Yeah, I feel like Pillar's one of the more volatile supports as far as might be bouncing around the list week to week,
Yeah.
depending on how the outcome of some of the team fights goes, especially when you play more tanker engaged champs or just flipping it around. All the different types of champs, you're gonna move around. So good week for Pillar. Moved up to third or down? I don't remember.
Stayed. Stayed third. Was third last week. There's a big mover
Hmm.
in these support
True.
ones,
Haven't
and
seen them on the list yet.
haven't seen him on the list yet. Rogue Gorilla at 2. Uh, you know, I mean, maybe this could be biased in terms of my rankings because everybody I've talked to from Dig says this guy's boosted and runs it down in scrims and the like. So he got dinged a little bit. He's looked good in Rivals League so far. Um, and similarly with Pillar, a lot of great plays made by Rogue. A lot of good punishes in lane as well. So second on the list, actually got moved down one spot.
Really just got jumps. Didn't really move down.
Really got jumped. Yeah, true.
Semantics. That must mean that somebody jumped up from like what, fifth?
Fifth.
Fifth, where they just back to back pop off games. I'm pretty sure. Tank duty.
Yeah. Yeah. Jonikis, he's a wild child. Makes a lot of different things happen. Last week was a big part of the reason why Roar was able to pick up the win. It was kind of a slugfest between Patriots and Roar. Um, you know, game 2, some might argue Roar deserved to lose, but a nice play by Jonikis in the mid lane. They win a team fight. They pick off BK on side, and then they get the dub. So Jonikis #1, big mover.
Yeah. Yeah. Much deserved. Wasn't anything bad we could really point out, so it was like, how do we not put them first? So
All
team
right.
power rankings, I think, is slightly different than standings. Standings obviously is what's factual. This is kind of how we feel. Pretty close, I think, but no ties in power rankings. So I don't know. Still team 8 with kind of the implosion. Week 2 haven't picked up a game. It just kind of makes sense that they're 6th for now. We'll see if they turn it around. Still time.
Yeah, there's
But
still time. It's quickly running out. If they're
quickly
gonna do
running
it,
out.
they got to do it this week. Patriots at 5, similarly with Steel Team. I will say, for an 0-2 performance, that was a close 0-2 against Roar, so something to build upon. If they can improve the next couple weeks, they might slip into that 4th playoff spot. Speaking of 4th playoff spot, Eclipse Valkyries, I believe. Did we get the 4?
The top 4 were tough for both of us. We went back and forth.
Yeah, you want to talk about that in depth a little bit?
I don't really remember. I feel like EV was EV the one that I had higher, maybe.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think just because they're 0-2, but 2 quality losses, in my opinion. 2 almost wins. Almost wins don't count. A win's a win, a loss is a loss. But just because you're 0-2 and people have better record doesn't necessarily mean they're better than you. Obviously, you haven't played every team ahead of you. So it's noted that EV at 4 feels bad, but it's just tough to justify putting them above some other people.
Next team on the list, you did have them above, but thankfully I was there to talk some sense into you.
I didn't change it, did I? I think it was just the
Yeah, it's just the way it. Yeah,
it
you
was
didn't
the
change it,
way
you
that
left it.
ours average out. So
Yeah.
my
So
argument was that EV above RAR as of right now because RAR has beat who? Doesn't I mean RAR can only they can only beat who we put on the schedule in front of them, so it's not necessarily their fault. But up to this point, strength of schedule, I'd say EV has definitely had a tougher schedule. But either way, 3-4, flip them
Regardless,
either way.
RAR at 3. You heard it from CB. RAR on Fraud Watch. Number 2, Shinobi. Now, the same argument can be said for Shinobi, probably. Um, they beat
Maybe
a
easy.
struggling Seal teammate, but they also beat EV. I think the difference for me, if you're looking at, we could go ahead and throw number one up here so I could talk about my point. The difference between the two number one and number two teams for me is that the Shinobi series against EV felt a lot closer. While as Dignawash got kind of rolled game one, games two and three, um, not particularly close. So it might not be a perfect list, but it's definitely an interesting one, I think.
Yeah. Top four flip them either way. I think there's a hard break between 4 and 5, 4, 5, 6, as of now. So either way, you just have to be top four to make playoffs. So who cares what we think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Who
gonna
cares what
speed
we think?
run our predictions. Obviously, we don't do the pick'ems because we have insider info.
CB said that I can't get a free skin because then
Yeah, Righteous over here trying
I
to do
look
pick'ems
bad.
like he doesn't have insider info.
Anyways, uh, team or yeah, probably the game of the week, is Dignawash versus RAR. Of course, RAR gonna have to make some adjustments to their starting roster. I got him 2-1 Dignawash. Iplock comes back. I know there's a lot of beef between potential top lane matchup and the like. I just wanted it to be a 3-game series. I predict Dignawash comes out at the end.
Okay. My argument. So I didn't go back and forth between is it going to be Dig 2-0 or Dig 2-1. For me, it's a toss up of is it Dig 2-0 or RAR 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling just with all the banter, everything that's happened and whatnot, that whoever can take the game one is going to have a lot of momentum uh, and pull out the 2-0. So I'll give it just because strength of schedule. I'll give it to Dig, but I almost had RAR 2-0. Just made more sense for Dig. So we'll see. Wouldn't be surprised either way.
I mean, because we both went Dig, we both covered all avenues which Dig win. Probably RAR wins 2-0 just
Oh
to
yeah, that's
screw
how
with
I do
us.
it. I jinx every time.
Yeah, this is how it goes. Eclipse Valkyrie's taking on NG for NG. This feels like a must-win if they want to sneak into the playoffs. For Eclipse Valkyries, this is the first week where you take on an opponent that you're probably the favorite. So if they pick up a win, they do themselves a solid. They set themselves up for future success. If they lose, especially if they get reverse swept, then we're gonna have some hard conversations when it comes to Eclipse Valkyries.
Yeah,
CB, who you got?
I have EV 2-0. I still think NG could somehow climb up to that fourth playoff spot, but I'm really high on EV. I don't even think EV is in the bottom half. I think they're in the top half teams. So this is more me being high on EV than it is being low on NG. They're due a win.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's both for me. I think Eclipse Valkyrie is probably a little bit underrated in terms of how they appear to be in the league, and NG is definitely struggling. I know NG's trying to put some stuff together to make the season work. We got Outrage in the league, which might be fun. So I got Eclipse Valkyries 2-1. I think they buck the trend, but I think they lose the first game and then they reverse sweep. It's
Okay.
like
Okay.
good karma or something. Our last match, Shinobi's taking on the Patriots, kind of like with Nefarious Gaming. It's not a must win because there's some winnable games on the Patriots schedule the last 2 weeks. But it feels like if you could pull off an upset here, then you got a lot of momentum riding into your most win matches. And then for Shinobi, just for the sake of consistency, if they're able to pick up this win, they do themselves a favor because I think they have the hardest schedule the last remaining 2 weeks, taking on Roar and Dig. So any win that they can get is gonna help them. I got 2-1 Shinobi. I think the Patriots pick up their first game win. If you're keeping track, I think all three series go the full 3 games, but maybe that's just wishful thinking. But I think this is gonna be a close week between
Yeah,
these,
you
these
just want to
teams.
cast 9 games this week. That's what it is.
Yeah, dude, that means I get paid more, right?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I went back and forth on whether or not I should give Patriots my time since they've uh, let me down back-to-back weeks. Um, this one might be the bias pick. Who knows? Gonna give them one more chance to give me some points. I'm slacking behind, 5 points behind you. Um, so I don't know. I think this is kind of the do or die week. So that's why I opted Patriots. They know they need a win. They at least need to take a game. So we at least both think it's gonna go the 3 games.
Hmm.
So we'll see if they can make any meaningful adjustments for their team.
All right, chat. Let us know what we got right, what we got wrong. Seems like there was a heavy debate over our support rankings, which I thought was not going to be the case, but shows what I know. Caden, appreciate the prime. If you want to miss out on ads, if you have the means, of course, we would appreciate the subscriptions. If not, that's no worries. We should have it figured out to where ads won't be playing during games. So,
It's not
uh,
to at the game-winning team fight. We'll see if we can avoid that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was Rivals Runback for week 2. We're gonna take a quick-ish break, and then when we're back, we got the highly anticipated matchup between Dignawashed and Roar. Husky will be joining me. It's gonna be a fun one. Stick around.